back to the channel, guys. So you can see I got the Neo Geo joystick opened up here. I'm going to be trying to do a modification today. Have no idea if this is going to work or not. What I got here is I have a Seimitsu joystick. This is model LS-33, LS-33. This is the most compact joystick in the Seimitsu lineup. So the goal today is I'm trying to replace the joystick, and I'm trying to create a drop-in replacement where I don't have to modify or cut or drill the original stock casing. I think, now obviously this is going upside down, so I think the first step is I'm going to try and remove this metal plate. Then I'm also going to remove all 8 of these screws to try and get out the original joystick. To get the ball top off, hold back using a flathead screwdriver in this slot, then untwist the ball. So this is with the joystick moved to the side. You can see you have very little room to work with in here. Stripped it down. I've taken the universal mounting plate and this metal plate off. I'm gonna pull off this original square gate that we got here, and I'm gonna see if I can get the J&X Gate of the Wolves Octogate to fit on there. If that fits, this might be a friggin' drop-in replacement, guys. This might be pretty amazing. So of course that didn't work at all. 2 issues with this joystick. It's close, it's damn close, but it's no good. Problem number 1, this printed circuit board has to go. You have to work with regular micro switches. And problem number 2, the actual joystick lever or the shaft, it's too long. So it hits like right there. The only way to make this work is you have to trim this shaft. Somehow I'm gonna have to cut this off at least 1/4 of an inch, if not more. But then you also have to cut like a new ring for where the C-clip goes. So that has to get cut. And then also at the same time, you're gonna have to trim down this guy. I really wish I could have found an easy drop-in for this thing, but it's not gonna happen. You know, I can just unsolder this, you know, that's not a big deal. And luckily I already have the Octogate from Gate of the Wolves, because you're gonna need that. So you're basically gonna have micro switches with the Gate of the Wolves right on top of it. Biggest issue here is having to trim this down. Trim it down and then put a new notch for the C-clip, and then trim down your little spacer here. And I guess it explains why you never see a video or anything of anyone modding or replacing the original joystick from the AES, because that shit is not easy. All right, guys, so I just did a quick little mock-up. The shaft of the joystick is just a little too deep. Thinking about just putting it in a vise and hitting it with a little hacksaw real quick. Main concern is putting another slot in there for the C-clip. All right, guys, so I measured up, and I think I'm gonna start by cutting the spacer. I'm gonna take about 1/4 inch off of this. Then we'll move to trying to cut the shaft. All right, so I chopped 1/4 of an inch off the spacer, and literally I just put it in a vise and just used a little hacksaw blade. We went right through it. So let me see if I can measure up the shaft, and then I'm gonna try cutting that. So you can see I cut the that spacer almost flush with the gate. Almost. It's sticking up just a hair more, but enough that you can rotate it around and it won't slip underneath the gate. So now I'm gonna mark the shaft to put a notch for the C-clip. All right, so you can see the mark I made. I'm gonna make the little notch for the C-clip right there. And I don't know if this is gonna work or not, but my strategy is I'm gonna try and use a pipe cutter to see if I can put that notch in there. I got the shaft in the vise, all right? I made a notch over here on the black dot, all right? And the problem is I think the cutting wheel blade is too thin, but it does look like it's cutting the shaft nice. So right next to that, you can see I made another notch that I got going right now, and I'm gonna just try and cut the whole shaft off right there. So that's getting chopped off, and then maybe I'm gonna go back to that first notch and go in there with a hacksaw blade by hand just to widen it up a little bit. I thought that would have been hollow, but it's a solid, so it took a little while. It did work, and it did give me a nice clean cut. So I just wanted to show you guys what we took off. It's about 1/4 inch. I also just wanted to show guys that this measures out, the shaft measures out to about 2.5 inches on the dot, just about. So if you need to trim down your own stick, this stick can't really be more than 2.5 inches long, or you're gonna have problems. I'm gonna work on this other little notch, and I guess I'm gonna have to do it with the hacksaw blade, just to make it a little thicker. This blade is just too thin of a cut, so try this with the hacksaw and we'll see. I mean, this is really gonna make or break the project right now. If I could get this C-clip on there, I think this mod will work. If I can't, then probably gonna wrap it up. Here's the progress so far. So, like I said before, I just started out, I put the pipe cutter on there, just a couple rotations around just to get a notch going. And since then, I've just been using literally just a hacksaw blade by hand and just, you know, just nothing crazy. I can't really do it with one hand, but just one little stroke at a time here. And then I would rotate it and keep going, and it's looking pretty damn good. And here's the clip. I think we have a success, guys. Right now, I'm just gonna use my flush cutters, and I'm just gonna snip the legs, and you know, these should fall right out. Got those switches out, and I could just temporarily solder something up just to see if this works. And then over here, you can see we cut the spacer thing, and there's the spring. So I'm gonna try and set this up now. I'm gonna try and put the shaft through there with the C-clip and make sure that it can hold down and compress that spring without any problems. There it is. And it feels great. Everything's actuating properly. It's a damn shame they don't just make this shaft a little shorter, and that would be the end of the problem. If your joystick with the gate on it is more than 13/16 of an inch, you're really pushing your luck. So just taking a look at this real quick, I can't get quick disconnects on there with this insulator. But check this out, guys. Instead of soldering, I think I'll fit one of these guys. Aha! That just about fits on there. So I think I'm gonna make like just a little jumper wire, you know, just female to male, that'll tie in with these guys. I think that's the easiest way to do it, and I could just crimp that and not have to deal with soldering. And this should fit pretty much on everything. So that's our little jumper right there. I'm gonna make 4 more like this, and then the ground is gonna be like one big daisy chain. Right, guys, so that's all the grounds daisy chained. It came out pretty nice. Here's the male end, and this is gonna tie in to your ground connection. Obviously I'm only gonna need one, and these are insulated, so I'm just gonna leave them hanging in there. It's not gonna touch anything. So basically these are gonna get grounded by connecting this here, and that's that's all your grounds. I also made some connections for each one of these terminals, and I tried to go color coded to match up with the original as best as possible. And all these little jumper connections, it's just female on one side, male on the other, so they're just going to tie into here, and then the other end will just tie into the remaining terminal on the micro switches. Forgot the little dust shield, guys. So if you don't put this on, you kind of see the silver washer when you look from the top. So pop this on there. That works. Forgot to put the bowl on. You gotta hold back when you screw the bowl top on. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna try and pull back a little bit with some pliers just to snug it up a little bit. This thing is turning into the ultimate ball breaker. So never gonna believe this, guys, but it's looking like these two screws right here are hitting here and here. These screws, what it does is it couples the micro switch to that blue base, okay? It secures that. Now, the gate, the JNX gate, is already secured with these two. I'm not worried about that. So what I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to drill out these holes for this one and this one. I'm gonna have to drill these holes wider, almost like these ones. Basically so that I can leave the screw in, but it'll sit flush. I think that's the only way to do this, guys. So when you take your time drilling, you can get a beautiful hole like this. So we widen the hole. The hole is originally this size right there, and we widen it to here so that we could screw that screw in and it'll sit flush. Now, here's a lesson of what happens when you don't take your time and you don't go one drill bit step at a time and you rush because you're realizing this project's taking the whole friggin' day. And this is what happens. You break the plastic. I trimmed this a little bit just to make it look better than it was. But yeah, so that's what rushing does, guys. That's what you get. This is still good. It's still good enough for what I needed to do. So let's reinstall. There it is. Oh, thank the maker we got it. All right, now let's fucking test this thing. All right, guys, and that's pretty much it. Just a last look before I button it all up. We got it, guys. I mean, it was a struggle. The final killer was just these two screws over here and over here, man. It does work. I'm gonna button it up, and I think that's it for today. All right, guys, until the next time, take it easy.